So I'm coming out here this morning. I want to make some charcoal out of native Nevadan plant material. So I'm going to try to find some dead sagebrush that's about the right size for a stick of charcoal, and I'm going to find some juniper, and I'm going to make charcoal out of them and see how they work and see how they compare to standard types of like vine or willow charcoal. So my first challenge with the sagebrush is to find straight enough pieces that aren't decayed too badly. I want them to be dead rather than a live piece of brush, because I feel like there's the less moisture that I'm starting with in the material, the better chance I'm going to have at making it into some decent charcoal. But I'm a little worried about the state of decay. If these are too far gone, then they might just turn into dust. But we'll see. Well, I finally got a fair amount of sage. I think that's good enough to try for. Now I'm going to go try and find some about the same amount of juniper, straight sticks of juniper. I think that might be a little bit easier than finding straight pieces of sage. So this is a juniper tree, dead and dying. It's still living actually, but a lot of little sticks. I got to find some that aren't quite so decayed, but looks like nature's already doing a little bit of the work for me. These might work fine. This juniper was much easier to obtain, so we'll see what its qualities are like once it's made into charcoal, if indeed I can make it into charcoal. But that should be about enough just for this test anyways. So what I'm going to do now in order to make the charcoal is I'm just going to get those little sticks that I collected, and I'm going to put them in these paint cans, and then ultimately I'll show you I'm going to put the paint cans on the fire. I'm going to try to line them up kind of vertically here and put them in the can like so. I don't know if you can see that or not. But essentially I'm just going to stick these all in there, and once I get them all situated, I've got a can for each of the juniper and the sage. So we'll put those on the fire and we'll see how they char up. So as much as I would like to use a regular fire, build just a fire in my fire pit and put these in the fire, instead I have an infrared element on my barbecue. So I'm just going to put them in there, and the reason being is I think I can control the temperature better. I have a little temperature gauge on here. I don't know how accurate it is, but at least I can keep it at a constant temperature, whatever seems to be working right. So I put the sticks in the cans, and I've poked holes in the lids, just one hole to allow the exhausting gas to get out, but not any oxygen to get in, so that this shouldn't be able to burn on the inside but just char the wood. That's the theory. So we're going to give it a test. I'm going to try to get this thing up to, I don't know, I'm thinking like 700 degrees, but that's probably way too hot because this thing only goes up to 800, and I think that I might just burn my whole grill down if I get it that hot. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to put them in there now though, and just see what happens. There's the sage, there's the juniper. We'll come back after a bit and check up on them. So these have been on about 6 minutes. Temperature's reading about 50 in the oven part, so obviously there's a lot more down on the grill part. But these are starting to smoke pretty good. They've been on, like I said, 6 or 8 minutes. That's what it looks like so far. I plan to leave these on there for probably about, I'm thinking maybe 90 minutes. So we'll check back in a bit, see how they're coming along. Alright, well, these have been sitting for about 20 minutes now, so they're still kind of warm, but let's open them up and take a look. Yeah, I'm thinking need to go a little bit longer. Not quite all the way charcoal. That's what I was afraid of. Well, you never know until you try it. I'm gonna go for about another 20 on these, maybe a half an hour. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it is about 5:30 in the morning. I'm in my studio, and I just wanted to show you the results that I got with my charcoal. I have 3 sticks here. This is regular vine charcoal that you can buy. I'm not sure who the manufacturer is, I don't remember, but anyways, this is a stick of the regular vine charcoal that I usually use. And this is a stick of my sage, and it's very interesting. It really does look like a little branch of sagebrush. It's still got all the little nooks and crannies in it. And then a little bit smoother, but same thing. You can see the little places where the twigs were on this juniper. So we're going to see what this looks like. We're going to give it a shot. And so I'll bring the camera in closer so you can see. I want to show you the differences here that we're going to discover on the toned paper. So I'm going to bring the camera in closer though. Okay, so this is the vine charcoal that, it's a commercial product. I mean, it's made from a vine, probably made similar to the way I made mine. I'm smearing a little bit of on here. I like vine charcoal because it's very dark. It goes very dark. So that's the vine charcoal. Now I should put a little V next to it just so we know. V, vine charcoal. This is going to be the sagebrush charcoal. My first impression is that it has a lot more drag. It's not as smooth on the paper. I mean, admittedly, this is kind of a coarser stick, but usually you could wear it down a little bit and get a smooth edge. It's rougher and it's warmer. It has I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it definitely has a warmer color to it. So this is sagebrush. It doesn't seem like it goes quite as dark to me. That may not be apparent on the camera, but and then lastly, this is going to be the juniper. Much smoother. It's very hard though. It's a very hard stick. It's not as soft as the vine charcoal, but boy, look at how much darker it goes. It goes really dark. So that is the juniper. So that's how they compare with each other. Now let's see. I want to do several tests. One is, okay, smearability. Smudge, kind of how does it smear? That with that brush there smears. That's the vine. Really smears a lot, easily, very easily. Which is a good thing, not a bad thing, really, when you're working in charcoal, because sometimes you want to really control your edges. This is a sagebrush,
it has a little more, smears a little more than the vine does, but its initial impression kind of seems like it remains better. And then here's the juniper. Let's kind of smear the edge of that. Juniper smears more like the vine does. It leaves some of the original marks don't smear as much underneath, but that's kind of nice. I kind of like how that does that. Next test, I don't know what I would call this, perhaps a smudgeability test. Once again, how well how can you spread what you put down with, say, a tortillon or a stump. I guess this is a stump technically. That's the vine. Get to a fresh spot on this. Here's the sagebrush. It doesn't smudge as well. It smudges okay though. And then get to another fresh spot on this. And this is the juniper. Juniper doesn't smudge as readily. I wouldn't want to say as well or not as well, because it'll all do it, but it just doesn't do it as readily. Okay, and then the last test, which is also important when you're working in charcoal, is erasability. So here's just a kneaded eraser, and I'm going to just try to erase. So the vine charcoal erases pretty nicely. Now let's see the sagebrush. Oh, that erases really good. And then the juniper, let's get a good fresh spot on the kneaded, or knead up a real fresh spot. Wow, that too erases really well. I'm going to say that both of these erase as well, if not better, than the vine. See, the vine is leaving, it's like not wanting to give it up. It will though, it'll erase back down to the paper without ruining the paper. By the way, I'm working, this paper I have is just a piece of, I believe it's Strathmore. It's the Strathmore Toned Gray paper that you can buy just in a pad. It's off the pad that they sell. So that's it. I really like these, and I kind of like how they would interplay together. So I'm kind of excited about the results that I got from this charcoal that I made out of some of the native plants from Nevada. My wife and I went to a powwow a couple of weeks ago, and we saw a lot of these Indians in their costumes, and so I'm going to draw an Indian. I think I'm going to try to draw an Indian using both the sage and the juniper charcoal. Just, I think that would be kind of fitting. At the powwow, they were burning some things, some native plants and stuff, and they had these little bundles that were, I'm not really sure what they had the smoke for, but it was part of the ritual, and so it kind of inspired me to give me the idea to even make this charcoal. So I think I'm going to do that. So we'll share that later when I get that underway. I hope this was interesting to you. It was fun, and there you go.